Okay, so based on the notes that we just took, we can answer some of these problems. I also want to make sure that everybody has a formula chart, that green sheet that's on top of your desk or under your desk. If you don't have one, I need you to go find one that's on another desk. Okay, and I'll tell you why you're going to need it in just a little bit. Okay, so right now we're going to be writing equations of lines. And problem number 1 says that you want this equation to contain this point, and you want it to be parallel to this equation right here. So what did we just say that parallel lines have to have? Same slope. So for this to be parallel, okay, they have to have the same slope, and the slope in this case is 5/3. So the slope of the new line, m equals, has to be 5/3. Okay? So that's the slope of the new line, and it has to pass through this point. So what do we have now? We have a point, write that down, point, and a slope. So we need to use the formula that's called point-slope form. And it's in the formula chart. Point, slope, form. Okay, so if you ever forget it, it's on the formula chart and you can use it on the star. So let's write down what that formula looks like. And we've used it already. It's y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1 close parentheses. And if you remember, what we did is we took the point and we labeled it x1, y1, and then this is my m, and you're going to plug it in to all of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite that formula without the y1, the m, and the x1. So we're going to do y minus parentheses equals, my m is 5/3, so you can go ahead and write that one down. And then parentheses x minus parentheses, close parentheses. Because inside those parentheses, we're going to put my x1 and my y1, just like we did last week. So what number do I put in here? The -2, because that's my y1. So I'm going to put -2 in there. What number goes in here? 5. Okay, and then we're going to distribute that minus outside here and here, because it's going to change the sign of that number that we just wrote in there. It's going to change the sign. So this -2 ends up a +2, so y plus 2 equals, bring down the 5/3, parentheses, x. This minus changes a 5 to a negative, so it's -5, close parentheses. Y'all remember doing that? So what do we have to do next? We're going to distribute, okay? And this is where some of you are going to not like it, but we're going to use the calculator, and it shouldn't be that bad. So 5/3 times x is what? 5/3 x. But what is 5/3 times -5? Okay, we're going to have to put that in the calculator and do math, enter, enter. So let's put that in the calculator. 5/3 times -5. So I have 5/3 parentheses -5 because I'm multiplying. Enter. And then math, enter, enter. And that gives me my fraction, which is -25/3. Write it down. -25/3 equals, bring down y plus 2. And what is the last step that we have to do? Move the +2 to the other side, because I want the y by itself. So if I move this to the other side, what happens? It turns to a minus 2. So this is going to be minus 2. Okay, that leaves me with y equals 5/3 x. And you have to put this in the calculator so that it can combine. Make sure that you put parentheses around the fraction. Okay, so it's going to be negative parentheses 25 divided by 3, close parentheses, minus 2, enter, and then math, enter, enter. Negative parentheses 25 divided by 3, close parentheses, minus 2, enter, and then math, enter, enter, gives me my new y-intercept, which is negative 31 over 3. Negative 31 over 3. Okay? So how do you know that this actually works? We're going to put it in y equals. Okay, we're going to put this equation in y equals, and we're going to make sure that it does go through this 0.5, negative 1. So everybody go to y equals. Everybody's in y equals right now, putting this equation in there. 5 divided by 3x minus 31 over 3. Hit trace. And then I'm going to type 5 enter, and it should give me negative 2. 5 enter. Does it give you negative 2? Yes, that's how you check that you did it correctly. Okay, so that is our equation. And the equation is parallel to this one because they have the same slope. And it has a new y-intercept. Okay, so that's basically what you're going to do with the parallel ones. Problem number 2, I'm not going to do it with you, but I'm going to start it because I don't want you, I want to make sure that you know that this is negative 1/2 x. So parallel, you need negative 1/2 slope. Okay, and don't forget to use the formula for that one. Let's go down to the one that's talking about perpendicular lines, which is number 4. Okay. They gave us a point. It needs to pass through this point. So this is my x1, y1. And it's perpendicular to this one. So I'm looking at that slope. Is it going to be the same? Same slope? No. You're going to have to flip it. So write it down. M equals. Flip the number. So it's 4 over 3. And change the sign. So if this one's positive, what does this one have to be? Negative. So this is the slope that I'm going to use for my new one. So using the same point slope form, everybody write it down. Y minus y1 equals m parentheses x minus x1, close parentheses. Rewrite it with those parentheses. So I have y minus parentheses equals, my slope is negative 4/3, parentheses x minus, and do the parentheses for the x1. We're going to plug in the numbers that they gave us. So right here, what is my y1? 8. Okay, and in this parentheses, what is my x1? Negative 4. Don't forget that this sign outside, this minus, is going to change the sign of that number inside. So the next step is to change those signs. This minus changes the 8 to a negative, so it's y minus 8 equals. Bring down the negative 4/3, parentheses. Change this one, the negative 4, to a positive 4, so x plus 4. What's the next step? Distribute the negative 4/3. So negative 4/3 times x is negative 4/3 x. And then this one goes in the calculator. Negative 4/3 times 4. Math, enter, enter. Negative 4/3 times 4. Negative. Here, let me put it in parentheses. Parentheses, negative 4/3 times positive 4. And then math, enter, enter. Gives you a negative 16/3. Negative 16/3. Bring this down. Y minus 8. And the last step is to move the negative 8 to the other side and change the sign to a positive 8. So it can cancel. That means this goes in the calculator with parentheses around the fraction. Remember, that's a negative. And then you do math, enter, enter, and that's going to give you your new y-intercept. So let's go put that in the calculator. Here's something that I like to do. If you see that this was your last answer, all you have to do is put plus. If I just hit plus, it's going to add it to whatever my last answer was. So I don't have to retype it. It's just easier. Plus 8, enter. And it did the math, enter, enter for me already. If it didn't do it for you, you go ahead and do math, enter, enter. And it should give you a positive 8/3. So that's just easier. So now you have y equals negative 4/3 x plus 8/3. Okay, and again, to check it, you would put this in y equals, go to trace, and make sure that it goes through this point, negative 4, 8. I only need you to do the front page. We're going to do the back page tomorrow. So the front page, I need you to do number 2, number 3, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8. But look at number 8. What do you have to do first for number 8? We have to solve for y so we can find the slope. So this one, the slope is not 2. You have to solve for y. Let's solve it real quick. Okay, move the 2x over, change the sign, minus 2x. Divide everything by negative 3. Y equals 4 divided by negative 3, math, enter, enter. And negative 2 divided by negative 3, math, enter, enter. This gives you a negative 4/3. And this one gives you a positive 2/3 x. So this is the equation that I'm talking about. What is the slope of that? It's 2/3, positive 2/3, right? And it wants it to be parallel. So what do we know about parallel lines? They have the same slope. So m is going to be the same, which is 2/3. So now you can do what we did on the last problem, where you plug in the point and the slope and find the new equation. If you have any questions, make sure that you ask me for help.